when you're thinking of the Soviet times, there was a lot of love, right, and which resulted in children. Those children they tend to be referred to by the word mulat. The thing is that because it was actually mostly African men that were studying in the Soviet Union and they had to go back because of visa restrictions, most of these children never really got to know their fathers. So there is a movement now, and many of these people are actually on television. Some of them are big figures. So it's been very publicized to go back to Africa, to meet your father, to meet your father's family, to kind of have these very public reunions. It tended to be that these children were often sort of skirted off to a grandmother in the village. So many of these young people were actually growing up not in the cities. They were growing up far away. But all of these people have now migrated into cities and they are DJs. So you have a group of mulat DJs. Then you have those that came that are already married or are meeting Africans in Ukraine. So there's an interesting thing of choosing names where they are going towards the Ukraine. It's very interesting, where they don't choose the African names, or the African name will be now the middle name, and the first name is like Odarka or Natalia or someone like that. And then you do have the intermarriage. Now that's a little bit rarer, just because those the biracial couples do experience a lot of violence. So when you have an African man and a white Ukrainian woman, there tends to be an attack on the man. Now, there is an interesting thing that's happening, though, because up to now I've been talking about East Africans moving into Ukraine, but there's now a movement out of West African, the French-speaking parts of Africa, because that migration used to always go to France. And when you're thinking of the politics of France and you're thinking of anti-immigrant discourse in Europe, they're pushing eastwards. So starting to see them more in Ukraine. And so then how are they then negotiating these two very different colonial histories? And they're playing it out in these hip-hop clubs, right? So now it's like you've got times where it says, okay, now you've got an English language DJ coming in and you've got the French language DJ. And then what are the politics of using the colonial language? Why not use then the local African languages? Why not Swahili? So where does this start to fit in with the hip hop that they're listening to?